we ready to get right into it. Let's not wait.
Since when we're red.
You know, I've been no fan of heroes, but even I can't deny the good that you've done. Work with me, Sam. The country needs Captain America.
Tonight is the first step towards lasting peace across this brave new world.
Stand by for proof of death.
Whenever I see him,
Your inner circle has been compromised. Either you can't see that or you don't want to.
What do you think they talk about us?
The country is on the brink of war.
There's
There's someone behind all this. Watch yourself. You're not Steve Rogers. You're right. I'm not.
What do you think they talk about us?
Captain America. Caught without his wings.
You want me? Come and get me!
Captain America, Brave New World. Make sure the suit's ready.
Tell me I don't make your old gear look brand new.
Who's saying that?
Everybody. Everybody is saying that.
You think they carry out us?
Let's go.
Back to the big screen.
World.
Welcome back, everyone.
I've
It's
seen
Charlie.
nothing now.
Marvel dropped a brand new Captain America Brave New World trailer because tickets
Looks
are on
the exact
sale.
same.
There's a bunch of new Easter eggs, bunch of new footage, so we'll break it all down. We're starting to see more Robert Downey Jr., Dr. Doom, Avengers, Doomsday references creep in because we're getting so close to that. And talk about crazy versions of characters. There's even a sly reference to the time that Hulk became Captain America during this new trailer footage. If you're brand new to the channel, we're actually doing a giveaway for movie tickets. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and just post all your theories about what's going on in the comments based on all the footage we've seen. We get way more footage of the dead Celestial Tiamat in the Indian Ocean. I'll talk about the whole Eternals, Celestials of it all in a second. There's more footage of Thunderbolt Ross talking about the new Avengers that he wants to put together and his plans for what he wants Captain America to do during this movie and after the events of this movie. That's a little bit like Norman Osborn's Dark Avengers plan in the comics during the Dark Reign era. We get a little more of the leader's storyline, a little more Serpent Society, and some more abilities that Sam Wilson's new Captain America vibranium wingsuits have. Just starting at the beginning of the footage here, when Thunderbolt Ross says, "You know I've been no fan of heroes in the past," he's talking about the events of Captain America Civil War and the events of the Incredible Hulk movie. Because remember, the Incredible Hulk, even though it was Edward Norton, is still meant to be canon to the MCU. It's basically the Mark Ruffalo version, just a different actor playing that character. Maybe someday we will see Edward Norton come back as like an alternate reality version of the Hulk. We have Secret Wars coming up, who knows? If you read any of the tea during the making of The Incredible Hulk and when they were getting ready to make the first Avengers movie, there was a lot of controversy over Edward Norton's actions when they were working on the movie. Supposedly the Marvel people, Kevin Feige, didn't really like the way they were working on the actual movie. That is like a whole other video because it happened so long ago, but some of you may have read some of the behind the scenes back in the day. That all came and went years before I created my YouTube channel here, so that's why I haven't done any big videos on that. But there is a lot of Incredible Hulk stuff coming back from that movie inside this movie, like Thunderbolt Ross. You have the leader coming back from the end of the Incredible Hulk movie. You have the Liv Tyler Betty Ross that's going to be in the movie too. Would not be surprised if there's other stuff from the Incredible Hulk that we just have not seen in the trailers yet. I think they even include the Pingo Doce soda inside the Daredevil Born Again trailer. So like the Hulk soda that they use for that silly cameo scene where he turns into a version of the Hulk, also still a thing that's being sold across the MCU in present day. That was why a lot of people saw that in the Daredevil Born Again trailer and they're like, wait a minute, is there going to be Hulk stuff going on during Daredevil Born Again? That would be crazy. Personally, I think it's just an Easter egg now. They use it for a bigger reference during Deadpool and Wolverine when the soda itself, like the Pingo Doce soda, was on top of the Secret Wars comic book in the Void during their first big fight on the Void. But it was sort of a follow-up to that first Hulk cameo scene with the other version of Wolverine based on the original comics. But if you're tracking all this stuff across all the different trailers, the different series, the movies, it just seems like there's a lot of Hulk Easter eggs that they're bringing back in present day. I think because they're slowly getting around to the fact where they can actually make a brand new Hulk solo movie like they've wanted to do for a long time now, and we just won't be able to actually see that till after Secret Wars. But there'll be some cool Hulk Easter eggs from Secret Wars when we get to that movie. That is why you've been hearing about World War Hulk movies stuff for the last couple of years, just because it seems like Marvel's worked out all the problems they've had with Universal that will eventually allow them to release that new Hulk solo movie. The one that Mark Ruffalo said years ago when they were making Infinity War was never going to happen, like it would never work out with Universal because Universal hates money. But in this scene where he's talking about not liking heroes in the past, referencing all those older Marvel movies, in the longer version of the scene, he talks with Sam Wilson about wanting him to help him put together a new Avengers team. Like, I want to reform the Avengers. The world needs this. Work with me, Sam. But the whole idea is that Sam Wilson doesn't want to have another Captain America Civil War situation. So he's like, what's going to happen if we, the heroes, don't agree with what you, the president, tell us to do? He doesn't want to just be the president's patsy at his beck and call. Which I think most of us expect them to pick up with the Thunderbolts movie in Val's version of the new Avengers that she puts together that's more like the actual Dark Avengers of the comics. Like her putting together the new Avengers is meant to be a consequence of what Sam Wilson does not do during this movie, working with the president to create a presidential sponsor, or like a government-sponsored Avengers team. But all the Marvel people in real life that are making this movie, like Kevin Feige, the other producers, want Sam Wilson to be the character who actually brings that team together. Like they want him to help form a new Avengers team, which they'll probably have Easter eggs for in some sort of post-credit scene during this movie. And we'll probably see that legit new Avengers team by Avengers Doomsday, which they are getting ready to film in the next couple of months. Like literally they're going to be rolling camera really soon, and they haven't even finished the script on that. Well, I've done a couple separate videos about that, so I'll link those down in the description below and at the end of this. Literally, based on our release schedule, unless they delay that movie, we're meant to get the first teaser trailer for Avengers Doomsday at the end of this year. Like, that's the typical schedule, because it's going to be coming out in May next year. By this time next year, we will literally have seen a bunch of new Avengers Doomsday footage. When they have the big press conference and the meeting at the White House, and he says, tonight is the first step towards lasting peace across the brave new world. He says the name of the thing inside the thing, everybody pointing at the screen. He did the meme.
2027 for like 2 years. That's like a movie.
Weekend plans?
Automating lead.
But what he means is they discovered adamantium on the dead Celestial Tiamat, and it sounds like he intends to use that to force a lasting peace around the world, or he's trying to get the world to chill out because everybody's at each other's throats trying to get these resources for themselves from the Celestial. The way he talks about the adamantium in the other trailer footage, it's in its raw form, but they talk about it like it's the most valuable substance on Earth now. And I think most of us are expecting this to lead to more weapons, plus Wolverine inside the MCU Easter eggs, like creating his adamantium that they bond to his skeleton when they eventually recast Wolverine with an MCU version. But one of the other subplots that's going on here is that all the different nations of the world are so traumatized after Avengers Endgame and all the world-ending threats, all of Thanos' invasions, all the way back to the first Avengers movie, like constantly being under threat of the world being blown up by different forces, either giant celestials destroying the Earth or alien forces coming to invade it. So in the present day, when Thunderbolt Ross, this wartime general, becomes wartime president, you remember during Black Panther Wakanda Forever how a bunch of different nations, like France, for instance, were trying to steal vibranium from Wakanda because they wanted to make their own nations more defensible. That's the whole endgame for everybody around the world. They each want to have the strongest arsenal, the strongest protection in case there's another alien invasion. So suddenly adamantium is discovered on this dead Celestial, and everybody freaks out. Like all the different nations are like, we need that for ourselves. We need to defend our nation. And at least during this presentation, when things go wildly off the rails, Thunderbolt Ross is trying to tell the world, like there's a bunch of world leaders that are at this meeting, that they're going to use the adamantium to help defend the entire world. But in an ironic twist, more Avengers Doomsday, Doctor Doom plotting, I would not be surprised if Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom shows up and that adamantium does them no good, or he himself steals the adamantium and winds up using it for his evil plan to quote-unquote save the multiverse by destroying a bunch of universes. Doctor Doom shows up and he's like, you know what, adamantium, way cooler than vibranium, I'm going to be stealing all that. But for whatever reason, the leader from the Incredible Hulk is the main villain of the movie, and he's the one that's throwing things off the rails using the Hulk serum to turn Thunderbolt Ross into Red Hulk. It might have something to do with him not believing in what Thunderbolt Ross is trying to pitch here. Like, there's no way there's going to be peace around the world. It's all about whoever's the strongest. And one of the leader's big threats is that he is going to use the Incredible Hulk serum and give Hulks to a bunch of other people from other nations, basically leading to an eventual World War Hulks situation, as in multiple Hulks, where you wind up something similar to like the Armor Wars storyline, where a bunch of different armors were all over the world that Tony Stark had to destroy, but instead it's a bunch of different Hulks. This shield stomp is meant to be based on Captain America's shield stomp from the elevator scene in Winter Soldier, because the movie itself is meant to feel like it's vibes of Winter Soldier. They wanted to make a similar type of movie. My assumption is that at some point Steve Rogers or Bucky taught him how to do this. Like, you stomp on the shield this way and that's how you pick it up. When they say there's someone behind all this, the person walking through in the shadows is meant to be the leader. You just can't see his super tall head. This is what he's actually meant to look like if the promo footage is to be believed. Like, I think this is meant to be an accurate depiction of what he'll look like. Then you see the footage of them inside his lab. We've seen bits of this in the previous trailers, but there's this one scene where you actually see one of the soldiers about to stab him with one of the needles, and I think this is meant to be a direct commentary on all the people out there that keep saying that Sam Wilson needs to get the super soldier serum at some point if he's going to be an effective Captain America. As far as I know, during this movie, he will not get the super soldier serum or will ever get the super soldier serum. All of his special abilities, like the way he counteracts people, will all be based on his vibranium wingsuits, future wingsuits that he gets. Like, he'll probably do the Iron Man thing where he gets a brand new suit every single movie he shows up in. But I think they're using the Iron Man explanation for the character, where like Iron Man, for instance, did not have special ability. He was just a regular dude in a really awesome suit, or a bunch of really awesome suits. But the other funny thing that you actually realize is that because they're in the leader's lab, the thing that's in this needle is probably the Hulk serum. So in reality, the threat here is that if the soldier were successful in stabbing him in the face, which he's probably not, like Sam Wilson probably fights him off, if he were to actually stab him with that and inject him with what's in the needle, he would have a Sam Wilson Captain America Hulk. If you haven't been keeping up with what's going on in Marvel Comics currently, usually the comics are about 10 years ahead of where the actual movie stuff and the TV show stuff is. But they literally just solicited a whole comic book line where a bunch of characters get combined and you wind up with a Captain America that is the Hulk. But the way they're explaining it is it's just a bunch of different characters combined. So it's like Steve Rogers Captain America that's literally jammed together combined with Bruce Banner Hulk. That is why you have the Black Widow, Doctor Strange in the background here too. Like, she's just literally the combination of Black Widow combined with Doctor Strange.
Multiple client sites? Supercharge your productivity with AI made for agencies.
This movie is meant to be way more grounded. Like, it's not a whole bunch of multiverse stuff going on during this movie. Maybe there'll be some kind of post-credit scene, but if there is, it'll probably be more Thunderbolts related just because that's the stuff that's happening next. And more new Avengers focus, like more Earth-based MCU Avengers focus. Fantastic Four, which we will get another big trailer for pretty soon, will be like the next real big multiverse movie this year, just because that'll take place literally in another universe, and they'll have to explain the whole Robert Downey Jr. Dr. Doom of it all, and there'll be a post-credit scene that will lead directly into Avengers Endgame, because Fantastic Four is literally the last movie that Marvel is releasing before Avengers Doomsday, so they have to have some sort of Avengers Doomsday post-credit scene in that movie. Then you see some of the new abilities of his vibranium wingsuits. He cuts through the wings of the jet fighters. Both the fighter and he are moving at a high velocity, so it's a little easier to explain the physics of this situation, but it's meant to be a much bigger version of the scene where he cuts the car in half with the vibranium wings after Red Hulk throws it at him. The other big new ability is actually a callback to the first Black Panther movie, where Black Panther can use the vibranium nanites that make his suit to actually charge damage, like energy damage, and store it, that he can redirect and give off his energy blasts. There's a scene where Red Hulk basically goes full pinball, punching Anthony Mackie's Captain America, who wraps the wings around him and starts storing all that kinetic damage. You can see his wings charging up here, like Black Panther's suit. They might have him use it for a simple area of effect blast to stun the Red Hulk, or they could have him use it for more Falcon bird-centric type of special ability, like firing a bunch of smaller targeted blasts from his wings when they unfurl in that charged state. But there's so much stuff going on during all the new footage. If there's anything you spotted that I didn't talk about in the video, or any questions you have, just post them in the comments below. And what I'll do is I'll just keep the movie ticket giveaway going in my Marvel video, so just look out for that. Everybody click here for my Daredevil Born Again trailer with a whole bunch of Easter eggs, and click here for my...
That was a nice video. I ain't even gonna lie. It was pretty entertaining. We'll see what happens. I'm gonna get out of here. Thanks, everybody.